everybody, Cobra DVS here for a long overdue episode of Quest for the Best Movie Game. And as you saw just a second ago, we're going to take a look at the mighty, gargantuan battle of Alien vs. Predator. Now, before anybody says, hey, that movie just came out. Yes, it did. The first movie came out in 2004, and this game came out in the early 90s. So I'm going to change it up a little bit. But here's why I'm going to accept this. Because the Alien vs. Predator movie is not based off a video game. And it's especially not based off this video game. The Alien vs. Predator movie is based off the comic series. Let's go back to Predator 2. We get our first glimpse of the Alien vs. Predator universe in the movie Predator 2, when Danny Glover's character, Lieutenant Harrigan, is in the Predator ship, and in the Predator trophy room, you see an alien skull. That tells you right there that the Predator and the alien live in the same, universe. This is all coexisting. And from then on, there have been comic books, a few novels, which are very good if you ever had the chance. A few novels, several video games. I mean, we've had them on the Game Boy, the Super Nintendo, of course, the PC, Xbox, 360, PS3, all that. And, recently, we just had the two movies. The first one came out in 2004, and the second, 2007. Now, neither of the movies were well received. They both were almost bashed by critics. Notably the second one. The first one, it wasn't very popular amongst the fans because of its, one, it had a PG-13 rating, and the guy who did it, Paul W.S. Anderson, people just feel like he sort of butchered almost, like he wasted a great opportunity. So 3 years later, in 2007, we get AvP Requiem, which I personally enjoy the movie. I enjoy them both, but I enjoy the second one. But I do know it has its flaws. First off, the movie looks like it was shot in a cave the entire time. It's so dark, you can't see. It's got bad acting, stuff like that. Now, they're planning, from what I've heard, the rumors are that there's going to be a third one, and they have to take it into space. There's no way they can't take it into space. It has to be. So we'll see what happens there. But for the meantime, we just have the two movies. And we're going to focus more on the first one. And we're going to compare it to this game. Alien vs. Predator for the Super Nintendo. This game is actually made by, or published rather, I guess, by Activision. And it's a beat 'em up. Now, I've had this game for a few years, not a few years, but about a year now. And I gotta tell you, I enjoy the game. I do enjoy the game. It's a beat 'em up, but it's not necessarily a beat 'em up like Streets of Rage or Final Fight. It's a little bit different, and I think you'll see what I mean as we take a look at the game. And let's go ahead and do that right now. Alien vs. Predator on the Super Nintendo. The year 2493. The planet Vega 4. The city New Shanghai. Let's rock this bitch. Alright, so you jump right into action here. You play as the Predator. Now, the Y button punches, the B button jumps, the A button appears to be doing nothing, and the X button, actually the A button is what picks up stuff, I believe. Nope, never mind. Anyway, the X button picks up stuff, I see. And if you press Y and hold it, you can use his shoulder cannon and use that against the aliens. These weapons, you get 5 of them when you pick them up. There's 2 weapons you can grab. There's a spear gun like that, like what you see right there on the ground, which I prefer actually. And then there's also the slide attack you can do by pressing the L and R buttons. It's I don't know, it's a good way when you're in like in a pinch. Fucker. There we go. Now, this game is flawed. I just picked up the invisibility thing. One of the big things that's a flaw with, as far as I'm concerned, is that the enemies should die slightly easier. And when they are knocked off screen, they jump back in the screen in midst of an attack. So if you're see, like what happened right there. If I'm standing anywhere near them, I'll get hit, which is stupid because it means you're almost doing the same thing every time. I find myself doing this a lot, just sliding into them, like right as they jump in, just. Now, despite the game's flaws, though, it is fun. I mean, it's a beat 'em up, and it's not the same category as a Streets of Rage or Final Fight, like I said earlier. But if you're a fan of the Alien Predator series, I think you can appreciate this game. And it's not all entirely common. It's sort of an uncommon game. So you'll probably end up paying over $10 for it. But I would pay that. I mean, it's probably worth that. This up here is their health bar. The blue is their health bar and the yellow is mine. And this whore, I don't know what the difference is between these. I know that although these ones look like they'd probably be stronger, they're actually kind of weak. Fuck. Oh, you can kick too, alright. Hey, quit walking into me, whore. It's like they just walk into you and all of a sudden you freaking knocked over. Alright, so apparently predators enjoy a nice ham bone, because that's your health in this game, but, you know, it's, you know, I could sit here and nitpick all day, but it's pretty fun. I haven't lost a life yet, because it's pretty generous with the health, so, it's never like I feel like I've been cheated, and that's until you come to the boss battles, because the bosses are tough. They are, a pretty good challenge. Although, from what I remember, because it's been a while since I played this, each boss has a pattern that if you stick to, you can defeat pretty easily. Yeah. Pretty slick move. Oh, I died, you whore. You sons of bitches. This level seems to be dragging on a little bit. Could come to an end any moment now. Actually, I think I'm kind of close. Yep. That's the end of the first level. There's little cutscenes. Well, calling them cutscenes might be a bit exaggerated because they're not really cutscenes, but that was a face hugger too. Wow. I believe the boss is coming up. Oh, there's two of them. I didn't even know. Bitch. Oh, that one's spitting acid. That's what a whore. Alright, after I beat this final boss, we'll cut the gameplay off and get to the final summary here. Son of a bitch. Of course, I could always just sit right here and do that all day. Here we go. Bitch. Oh yeah, you skank. Hey, I'm throwing the shit at you, which generally means you should fall down or die or something. Yeah, don't yeah. Oh, skanky. Wow, that sucks. I guess I could just slide into her. I assume it's a her. I don't know. It's probably a queen or something. I don't know. But this is basically how the game is. Now, I know the next level you're on a snowy mountain, so you're not always like in sewers and crap. So you know there's some variety in here. It's not all the same. And the music's good too. Ah, you bastard. Ah, son of a bitch. It's like once she hits you, you're just screwed. You can't do anything. Man, that's it. I didn't even beat the boss. There continues, right? Yeah, but I think I have to restart from the beginning of that level, or the beginning of the first one. Oh no, this is the last one. Okay, guys, well, that's it. You get the basic gist of the game, even though I sucked it up and couldn't beat the boss. So, here are my final thoughts about it. So that's Alien vs. Predator on the Super Nintendo. Is the game perfect? No. Is it flawed? Yeah, undoubtedly. Um, but it's pretty fun, and here's what I'm gonna say. I'm gonna recommend the game if you're an Alien vs. Predator fan. But if you're a hardcore fan that's used to playing games like Streets of Rage, you might want to pass on it. It can get a little repetitive and boring, and some of its flaws are just like staring you right in the face the whole time. But nonetheless, how does it compare to the movie? Well, this is hard considering the two are virtually unrelated aside from the name. Um, but let's see. Which would I enjoy more? Well, the first movie um, is the better of the two movies. There's really no question in that as far as I'm concerned. But it's still flawed, and still it's not as good as it could have been. And I feel like that's the way this game is. It's flawed, it's not as good as it could have been, but it's still enjoyable. So this is pretty close, but I think that I don't know really. I'm really on the fence on this one. This might be our first tie because I don't want to say the movie's better than the game because I do enjoy the game, but I don't want to say the game's better than the movie because the movie is good. It's enjoyable. This is a toughie. This might be the toughest one yet. But I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to say that Alien vs. Predator, the movie, is not quite as good as the Super Nintendo game. I don't really know. I mean, they're basically like a tie. I mean, it is a tie almost, but I'm gonna give the edge slightly to the Super Nintendo game, just for that, just for some small reasons. And I don't know. You know, it's your call, but in my book, I'm gonna say the Super Nintendo game's slightly better. So again, if you're a fan of beat 'em ups, or I mean a fan of Alien or Predator or both, definitely give this game a look, and you should enjoy it. But again, there are better beat 'em ups out there. So this is Cobra DVS saying thank you to those of you who messaged me or contacted me saying that you wanted me to bring this series back. I do want to make this announcement. This is not going to be a scheduled thing. These will happen when I want them to happen. It might be a while before I get to some, because I'm going to have to probably pick up some more movie licensed games in order to keep the series going a little longer. But that's no big deal because there are plenty of them. So, this time around, Alien vs. Predator, the Super Nintendo game, gets the slight upper hand. And again, thanks for watching, guys. The PC, Xbox, 360, PS3, you know, all that. And, you know, recently, we just had the two movies. The first one came out in 2004, and the second, 2007. Now, neither of the movies were well received. They both were almost bashed by critics. Notably the second one. The first one, it wasn't very popular amongst the fans because of its, one, it had a PG-13 rating, and the guy who did it, Paul W.S. Anderson, people just feel like he sort of butchered almost, like he wasted. Let's go back to Predator 2. We get our first glimpse of the Alien vs. Predator universe in the movie Predator 2 when Danny Glover's character, Lieutenant Harrigan, is in the Predator ship, and in the Predator trophy room you see an alien skull. That tells you right there that the Predator and the alien live in the same, you know, universe. This is all coexisting. And from then on, there have been comic books, a few novels, which are very good if you ever had the chance, a few novels, several video games. I mean, we've had them on the Game Boy, Super Nintendo, of course. Hey everybody, Cobra DVS here for a long overdue episode of quest for the best movie game. And as you saw just a second ago, we're going to take a look at the mighty, gargantuan battle of Alien vs. Predator. Now, before anybody says, hey, that movie just came out. Yes, it did. The first movie came out in 2004, and this game came out in the early 90s. So I'm going to change it up a little bit. But here's why I'm going to accept this. Because the Alien vs. Predator movie is not based off a video game. And it's especially not based off this video game. The Alien vs. Predator movie is based off the comic series